She said that American soccer fans, most of them aren't smart. They don't know the game. They don't understand.
Gio.
That guy Gaspacho.
Sports can take a lame gorilla, okay?
Advice, did you know that Arsenal died?
He's got me buzzing.
Up the talkies. It's hard to up them anyway.
I'm not even gonna comment on that. Mike, let's get into Man City's aspect of this. Have they locked up the title? They play one game more, but this was that big one that everybody was talking about. They look shaky. Tottenham had their chances in this one. It's their first win at Tottenham's new stadium. This team looks unbeatable. Mike, everybody on this team knows exactly what to do with the ball, plays into space. They created chances, and Haaland gets a brace on it. They bring in Doku, who gets a penalty drawn off the bench. He was electric. Was there any shot for Tottenham in this one?
Dude, there actually was a real shot. Like, I didn't give him any sort of shot, but there was.
So too.
Bentancur stung the hands of Ederson, forced a good save out of him. There were pieces of space that City didn't close out all that effectively. That's the issue when you play, 3-4 center backs is really great possession, and then you're running back and you have trouble with fast wingers, dynamic wingers. So there were pieces there. Son, has the clearest chance there, really bottles it. It's an okay save from Ortega, but dude, you got to score that. And he does most of the time when he's in form. So there were chances, and no one gave him a shot, not even their own fans, pieces of shit that they are. But there were chances, and they definitely didn't take them. And yeah, it feels terrible. It feels inevitable. You're like, yeah, City did it. Oh, we should have expected this. But watching the game's an entirely different thing. They didn't look invulnerable, but the problem is their next game is against West Ham, who have looked very vulnerable. They looked horrible. Defensively, Kurt Zuma looks like he's surrounded by cats. He doesn't know where to focus. Goals are going in left and right. The midfield, which we credited a lot this season, they've gone to all sorts of shit. Alvarez and James Ward-Prowse were like, wow, great signings. I don't know where they've gone the last half of the season. Jared Bowen's gone real quiet all of a sudden. His Euro hopes are probably declining very, very rapidly. So, no, I don't really have any hope that West Ham does anything here. The hope was with Tottenham. The hope was with Tottenham's record versus Man City at home. And I fucking hate to see it, but I think the hope's gone. And it's been staring us in the face for a while now. We've just refused to accept it.
Yeah, we knew at a certain point with 5 games left or so when they had that advantage that it was going to be all but impossible for them to give it up because it is Man City. That did wrap up our top 4, though, with the result between Man City and Tottenham. It will be Aston Villa getting into the Champions League after their draw with Liverpool. Down 3-1, the Chicago Fireman, Duran, gets a brace to tie it 3-3.
London.
He locks up the Champions League for Aston Villa. Aston Villa, great for them. They get into the Champions League. Liverpool, another disappointing result, I would say, to end their season. But Mike, I'll go again to you here for this one. How does Aston Villa fare both in the Premier League and in the Champions League next year? Because we know that European schedule can take quite the toll on a team. Do you think they're cut out for it?
I think they could be. They definitely need to bolster up their options, but they're sneaky deep at several positions. At least that's the way I see it. In the back line, they have several good fullbacks. When healthy, they have a number of good center back options, like actually really impressive players. Dibu Martinez, of course. And then you go forward, the midfield's pretty solid when they're healthy. I like the 4 rotational guys they have. They have some younger guys. Morgan Rogers comes to mind, who stepped up this season, is a pretty good player. John Duran was a good signing for them. Is a great backup for Ollie Watkins. And then, they have some talent out wide with Moussa Diaby, who was a pretty good signing. I think was a bit
Lost.
underwhelming. Yeah. I thought he was going to have a bigger impact initially, but still a good player. And Leon Bailey, of course, as well. If they can have maybe one marquee signing, a really talented player in the center of the park to go next to Douglas Luiz and Kamara, that would be huge. And if they can have a few rotational signings, just to give them more depth, more options to rotate through players when they have Champions League and Premier League games in the same week, they could do something with the new Champions League format that could actually benefit them as well if they play some weaker teams. I'm interested to see what they do. This is the first time Aston Villa's been in the Champions League since the UEFA Cup was rebranded back in the 90s. So huge, really cool to see. Good luck to them next season.
Yeah, good luck to the Villa. Boys,
Villains.
it is finally here. It is Championship Sunday, and we still have our title race potentially to be decided on Championship Sunday. Of course, those two teams, Manchester City and Arsenal. Arsenal, Nick, will be going up against Everton, Man City versus West Ham. Arsenal here in this one going up against an Everton team that, if you're looking at this 6-7 weeks ago, easiest matchup to close out your season. Now, it will still take Man City dropping points, but Everton may provide a challenge here because they have not lost in their last 5 games. What do you want to see, regardless of what happens on the other game, from Arsenal in this one to close out your guys' season?
I mean, it has to be a very confident victory. It's at the Emirates. We're closing out statistically our best ever Premier League season. Again, most wins ever right now, more than the Invincibles. I think that it's been. Listen, I called it. My hopes have not been too high since the Villa game. I called it then. You guys saw my depression live on this pod. I knew what was going to happen. I mean, for God's sakes, Liverpool got 97 points and still couldn't beat this Pep Man City team. Like I mean, they're just winners. It is what they do. I'm sure we'll talk more about that later. But I called it, and I said I need to make sure that this team has the right mentality to be perennial title challengers. And what have they done? They've won every single game since then. And, I think that they can put the cherry on top of that and finish that, proving to the rest of the world that we are serious, that we are who we are. We are who we say we are who we think we are. And I mean, not to spoil my lock of the week, but I'm going 4-0 Arsenal. I think, Everton has been scrappy. They've been well. They don't have the talent. They simply don't have the horses. I think they have maybe just out-hustled a lot of teams, which I know sounds kind of reductive, but I think it's the truth. I think they've been fighting for their lives, and they did a great job of doing so. And I have a lot of respect for Sean Dyche and a lot of respect for Jordan Pickford and a lot of those players there. Not one of them have the talent to hold their own against Arsenal, in my opinion. So I think you're going to see a motivated team. Crazier things have happened in football. I think that sorry, to be in the starting 11. I didn't mean to do too many shots there.
I was going to say, brother.
Apologies. A lot of them could be on this Arsenal team, just not in the starting 11. So I think, I'm expecting a 4-0 win. I don't think it's going to matter. I feel 99.999% confident that it won't. But at the very least, it's going to be a pleasant way to close out our season that ultimately is going to be pretty bittersweet.
Yeah, at the very least, you want to make Man City sweat because they are, like you said, perennial winners. This will potentially be their 4th Premier League in a row. Did anybody say Farmers League? But I mean, you want to make Man City
like
sweat a bit because there has been a lot of Man City title races where it's been done weeks and weeks before, and they can coast to the finish line. This time, they are fully sweating. They cannot drop a single game here for their final 6-7 games because Arsenal's going toe-to-toe with them. Now, Arsenal are that sliver behind, Mike, and Man City has that advantage where all they have to do is go into West Ham, a team that has been rather up and down this entire year. Their form has not been amazing as of late, just 1 win in their last 5 coming in their last game. Give a % chance that West Ham can save the footballing world from this Man City oil money empire that has dominated the Premier League.
I'll give them a 15% chance that they can get a draw. And
Damn,
what
that's
they're-
high.
And what if they're flying kites in practice? What does that drop to?
Oh, that goes up. That goes up to like 45%, dude. I don't know what it is with the kites. We haven't seen it in these first 2 games, but the third kite game, I don't know.
Third time's a charm. They say it. They say it.
If I see kites and bubbles simultaneously, I'm putting money down on West Ham, and I'm putting it down big time.
I did see something. I want to get your guys' take on this because I was a bit surprised. Looking into Man City, Arsenal, their final games, I saw that West Ham fans were saying that would you rather lose this game versus Manchester City and give them the title than get a result and give it to Arsenal? Now, West Ham and Arsenal are still in London, but they are not the Spurs level rival that I think should be able to consider something petty like that. I understand it from a Spurs perspective being petty. That I don't. Boys, is there any... What is this? Because to me, and I know we're Americans, maybe it's different, but Manchester City, to me, is so damn annoying. They have 116 charges and probably going to get even more. And yet they're winning every single year, and people are saying they'd rather give it to them than Arsenal? Is that... Nick, I know you're an Arsenal fan, so you're going to think it's crazy, but Mike, is that not just inadvisable at best?
Loser. You are a loser if you have that mentality. That is so dumb, dude. And I can't align with it at all. I am an Evertonian. If we want to spoil our rivals' title hopes, we do it ourselves. We go to Goodison and we take care of business because that's the only way to do it. You don't do it by losing games or hoping that your team loses games. That's just inexcusable. Loser mentality, small club mentality, never achieve anything mentality. So yeah, fuck out of here with anybody with that opinion.
I will
Nick,
say,
do you understand the Arsenal hate?
yeah, I don't think it's as crazy as you guys think. Of course, it's stupid. Of course, it's ridiculous. I don't think West Ham has any beef with Man City at all. And the West Ham, I forget the name of the Twitter account, but one of the main like West Ham Twitter guys has been as a guy who's been in the trenches this year on Twitter. He's been in the trenches this year about the whole Declan Rice thing. And he's taking a very strong anti-Declan Rice take on him leaving. So I think that's where a lot of those sentiments kind of started. Yes, it's still small club mentality. Yes, it's still loser talk. I actually think it's not as bad as the Tottenham thing, despite a bigger rivalry, because West Ham's not fighting for anything. They're not. I mean, they can leapfrog Man U if Man U loses tomorrow, but when Man U loses tomorrow, they're not fighting for anything. I don't like. If you're a fan, like, who cares? If Tottenham wasn't still in contention for top 4, I would understand people saying like, let's lose. I would get that a lot more. West Ham's fighting for nothing. 8th doesn't get you shit even. So I don't care. I think they're gonna get shit on either way. So I don't think it matters. Maybe they're just trying to have some sort of silver lining already prepared once they get a dog walk 6-0.
Listen, West Ham is our final hope that Manchester City do not get their 4th straight Premier League title. Let's all hope and pray. Let's all hope and pray.
That Declan Rice thing, whatever. Yeah. I mean, $100 million, you reinvest it. You shouldn't have any qualms about it. Man City wants to buy Paqueta, man. So what about that, dude? Are we going to love Man City when they buy your second best player? Like, come on, double standards, hating Arsenal because they're doing it the right way. It's bullshit, man. You don't like football. You don't like competitiveness in football if you're supporting Man City.
Yep. I think that is our stance as a pod, and we will stick to it, God damn it.
No one's supporting them, so like they have about 17
Dude, there's
fans.
20 guys. I saw 20 guys outside at the other day. They're all like 35.
Yeah, it is. It will be an interesting championship Sunday if West Ham can score a goal early. Holy shit! The TVs will not be more locked in at any point other than those remaining minutes. That will be something to watch and see how long West Ham can hold out, how long they can make us all
4%, dude.
hold our breath. Yeah, Google gives them a 4%.
15 was high. 15 was
Google. Google is a bit more
Support, dude.
cynic than Mike, and Mike has not necessarily been the nicest to the smaller clubs this year, so
I've not.
Google has been quite rough right here. Let us know what you think is going to happen. Championship Sunday, the title to be determined. Our great title race that has gone back and forth. Finally coming to an end this weekend. Championship Sunday. We will know by the next time we do this pod who will be our Premier League championship champions. Let us know in the comments what you guys think is going to happen.